Shalom, shalom. First before I get started, give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Kakadash. And let's hurry and get into it. I'm running late. There's always some bullshit on Fridays on the plantation, man. Let me get straight into it because it's getting dark, getting late out here. We're going to start out with that Jeremiah 49 and 10. Jeremiah 49 and 10, it says, "But I have made Esau a bear." Esau meaning the so-called white man. "I have uncovered his secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself." Yeah, so he's unable to hide himself now. He used to use the media, secret councils like Bilderberg, CFR, Council on Foreign Relations up in Davos, to do his dirty work. But everybody's on to him now, man. Doing false flags, people calling it out, saying, it all leads back to Israel, Netanyahu. So Esau has been made bare. And even, these talk show hosts, you was thinking they freedom warriors, they for the people. People are starting to turn on them now because, they see who their allegiance is to, man. And it's all the will of Yahweh Shem Yahushua to make Esau a bear, man. He's exposed. It's hard for him to pull off his false flags, man, run his psyops on the American people, or the world in general. They know the whole war in Ukraine is nothing but a fucking scam. They know the elite is marching them towards World War III. A dollar collapse. This man's been exposed left and right all over the internet, man, over the unicorn. There's nothing he could do to stop it. The floodgates are open on it, man. And who's been exposing him from the beginning is the man of the Lord, the prophets. And then you got other internet sleuths, detectives, bringing it out every night on Esau, man. You got Edomites bringing it out on Esau, man. That's how much it's bad when the so-called white people are tired of so-called white people, man. They're tired of the same old play, the same old scam, man. And they turning on Taco, man. Trump. His base, MAGA, there's a rift in MAGA, man. They starting to see that Trump is full of shit. All he cares about is Israel, Saudi Arabia, Argentina, all these different countries. But what he ran on. So the time has ran out for Esau Edom, man. No one's buying it. And the Lord exposed it, man. You can go into the internet right now and type in Bilderberg, WF, Epstein files, PDF file rings, all the war atrocities that went on, false flags. It's all out there, man. This man is being exposed. So it won't be long, man, before this man finally goes down, bro. Because he was able to lie and manipulate people through the media, through the news, but that don't work anymore, man. So let's go on. It says his seed is spoiled, and his brethren and his neighbors, and he is not. Let's read that in the NLT. It says, "But I will strip bare the land of Edom." But it's talking about Edom, the Edomite man himself, and there would be no place left to hide. His children, his brothers, and his neighbors will all be destroyed, and Edom itself will be no more. Yeah, so that's coming to the end, man. Uh, Everything's exposed now. You can't hide nothing now. It's all on the internet, man. I believe one of the Rockefeller said the worst thing they did was create the internet. But little does he know it wasn't up to him. You know, so everything's exposed. The PDF file rings, the the orgies that go on in DC. You know, the corruption. Everything's exposed. So Esau can't hide, man. He can't fudge the data. But he quick to get on TV and still accuse his brother. We used to be brothers, but he broke the brotherly covenant, man. He'll get on there and say, "Oh, you so-called Negroes, you the problems was going on in America." The whole time he been sending money all over the fucking world, man. Hundreds of billions of dollars a year. And say, because Tyrone and Keisha on fucking welfare is bankrupting the country. But little do you know, they got something called foreign aid. And they ship out hundreds of billions of dollars, man, yearly. But yet, Tyrone and Keisha and Pedro's the problem. Fuck out of it. So he's been exposed, man. All his lies are just, what they are, man. Just lies, and they've been exposed. you know? But, he's in power. So he still got the demon alert. Riding around with no lights on, yelling. That's a demon right there. Damn. Let's go on. And another thing's been exposed is damn the state of the economy, man. People not buying that speech that Trump did the other night, talking about. First, he started off talking about the economy is A plus 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 plus, and everybody looking like, are you fucking serious? Like, you can't blow smoke up nobody's ass anymore, man. We going to the grocery store. We can do simple math, man. So he's been blowing the smoke about the economy so great. It's doing well. The tariffs are working. The tariffs working so well. Why freight levels are down across the nation? Wherever you go, you're seeing businesses closing up, restaurants shutting down. Everywhere I go, I see a damn for sale sign. For sale signs popping up on all kind of houses, man. Storefronts. Straight blacking out, man. Nobody in there. But he'll lie and get up there on the TV and say, "Oh man, everything's good. You getting a check. I'm gonna send you a check." This man is out of his damn mind, man. He's been made bare. He has been made bare, and no one's buying the bullshit. You always gonna have a few idiots out there who believe everything Esau say. You still got some, especially our people, the so-called Negro, Latinos, or Native Americans. They still got Stockholm syndrome. So they're gonna soak it up. Because John 8:44 ought to tell you about our people, especially the so-called Negroes. Let's get it. This is Ecclesiastes 12:1. Remember now thy creator in the days of thy youth. So yeah, our creator, and especially for the nation of Israel, it's the Most High Yahweh, man. So you need to remember your creator. Jake has failed to do that. Because while the evil days come not, hey man, we already in the evil days, man. If you don't, if you don't fucking know, just go on YouTube and check out news from city to city, state to state, and you can see we in the evil days, man. Ill times, you know. I was looking at a video that was last night. It was a dude overdosing. They made a damn dinner table out of the man. You know, he laying down face down, ODing on I forget what drug it was, you know. But they made a dinner table. They said they came in there. Somebody had a bowl of cereal on his back, and somebody else had a plate on his back. You know, so people are grown cold, man. You know, you OD and pass out, people just put a blanket over you and make a picnic table, man. So we are in the evil days, man. You know, you don't believe me. Just go out your merry way throughout the day, and you're gonna see some freaks, man. You know, some I'm talking about some straight alphabet freaks, man. You know, stone cold. Anybody put that stinking marijuana. It says, days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. So this is the time while you're young to get this truth. Because, you know, the most high he does wake up older men, but you don't want your ass out here with a cane either, putting the work in. You know? You know, the time is to do it is when you're young, when you're full of strength. You know, there are men that was in this truth, you know, became elderly and they died in this truth. You know, so he said, seek this truth while you're young, man. Seek thy creator and not you. But a nigga say, hey, I got all the time in the world, you know? You know, I got all the time in the world. I'm young, you know. I ain't gonna waste my life doing that, you know. You know, hey, sometimes the most high bring you in when you're young. Sometimes he bring you in when you're older, man. Got everybody their own lot or their own time to bring into this their own season. You know, there's some guys been in this since they were like 17, 18 years old and in their 50s. So hey, but the time to get it is in your youth, man. You know, you're full of, you know, full of energy, strength. You know, you can carry on and do the work, no problem. You know, not saying that it still can't be done, because you do have older men in this truth still doing it. You know, pushing their 60s. So there's no excuses. You know, you think just because somebody older that they don't want to do shit in the world. You know, there's a million and one things I probably could have been doing. You know, but after a while, you pretty much done it all, man. Because when I was in the world, I went hard. You know, I ain't gonna even fucking hold you. I went hard. You know, traveling, partying, strip clubs, you know, name it, bro. You know, you already know what time it is with the women, you know? You know, I ain't saying, you know, you still can't get a woman or get you a strip club here and there. But it ain't about that. It ain't about that now, man. You know, clubbing, you know, you want to stay out the clubs as much as possible, man. because it's easy to get sucked back and pulled back into that world, bro. You know, for a single Jake, and you want some bitches, you got to go to the club. You know, you got to be where they at. I get it. I get it. But you got to be careful with that, man. You got to balance that out. Next thing you know, you're in the club every fucking week. You know, so everything in moderation. Everything in moderation, man. Right now, me personally, I don't like going anywhere. I like going home. You know, go to work, go to the house. That's it. I don't give a damn about a vacation. I've been enough places. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's on a job related or just taking a trip. After a while, all the shit all the same, man. So when I got this truth, I was like, yeah, this is it. This is what I've been missing, man. And I've been hanging on ever since. You know, hanging on ever since, bro. And don't miss the world at all. You know what I'm saying? Verse 2, while the sun or the light or the moon or the stars be not darkened, nor the clouds return after the rain. Verse 3, and the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves. So, yeah, the keepers of the house, the keepers of the economy, you know, Rothschilds, Rockefellers, they the keepers of the house, the economy. They determine if it's going to be a boom or a bust, a market crash or not, a recession or a depression. You know, everything's fixed and rigged, man. Everything, and, and they control the money supply. They control the Treasury, man, the Federal Reserve, all the central banks. So they got control of the money. They got control of the country, or the president, or the king, whoever the case may be. They make the laws. You know, they say pass this, don't pass this. They had in the shadows, pulling all the strings, and they get idiots like Trump up there, you know, talking sideways, man, talking reckless, and you get up there clapping and jumping like you had something to do with putting him in office. So the bankers control the economy, man, and the strong men bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few. So yeah, the grinders, the workers, there are few. Layoffs like crazy, man, this year. It's only gonna get worse. So you got layoffs hitting Babylon, America, left and right. And there are few workers. Everybody got a job. They're hanging on to that fucking job now. If they got one job, they're looking for another one. So because there are few, and those that look out the windows be darkened. Because businesses are shutting down, man. Shit is closing up. I can't make it no simpler, no plainer than that. Verse 4, and the door shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low. Yeah, because the economy is sluggish, man. They keep talking about we're in a recession. Man, we're in a soft depression, man. We're in a depression. What they say is a recession is when your neighbor lose their job. A depression is when you lose your job, man. So hey, you can tell, man, something about to go down. They up there in Washington passing out money left and right, you know, and they keep telling you're checking the mail. Oh, we got something for you next year. It's always 6 months later, next year, we're gonna get to you. But they just passed that bill for 800, was it $800 billion? Or was it 800 million? I think it was 800 million. Yeah, 800 million for Ukraine. They get the other countries get their money like this, you know. But you Americans, you gotta wait. You gotta wait the next year, the year after that. You're gonna get a $5,000 check, then it's a $2,000 check. There's $1,000, then it's gonna be $500, it's gonna be $200, and then eventually nothing. But you gotta wait. But nobody else ain't waiting, man. Israel ain't waiting on their money. They getting theirs. Who the fuck is this sitting in this goddamn SUV, man? This ain't no damn sideshow. People wear me out. Verse 4, and the door shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, meaning the rooster. You ain't gonna be able to rise up at the voice of the rooster anymore, man. You ain't gonna have no job to go to. You're gonna be like these other people out here, man, these homeless people. With a sign saying anything helps. You know? Anything helps. God bless. Eventually it's gonna hit everybody. Everybody's gonna be out of a job soon. Because the economy's gonna crash, man. It's already crashing. Inflation going through the roof. You know? And all the daughters of music shall be brought low. Yeah, the music is trash. All this new stuff is just garbage. So the music is brought down low, and that's another indicator of a declining, empire, society. We're at the tail end of this. Next year will be 250 years. Well, next July, it'll be 250 years, and an average lifespan of an empire is 250 years, man. So America's coming up on that. So will it be 250, 251, 252? Who knows? But this place on borrowed time, though. But we know it's close, though, man. The man of the Lord, we know it's close. Rome is collapsing right before our very eyes, man. This new Roman Empire is collapsing. Greece fell, Rome fell, and various other countries, man. Empires fell. Egypt fell. So, shit, not too long ago, what was it? Fucking in Germany, Weimar Republic, man. They experienced hyperinflation. They currency collapsed. The great old UK, they lost their status, and America took over. So what makes America so different? Nothing. Just like everybody else feel, this place is gonna fall too, but it's gonna fall the hardest. You know, it's gonna be a ripple effect throughout the whole fucking planet, man. It's gonna be a humongous ripple effect, and it's gonna crash economies all over the world. But right here in America, like what's the name? Like right here, inside joke, you know, it's gonna collapse the hardest, man. And believe me, it's gonna go down when that happens. It's gonna be fucking straight carnage out here, man. When the food stop running, trucks stop running, the water, the utilities stop in 3 days, 2 days, you know, no water for 3 days, 4 days. You know, you haven't eaten in 6 days. I say by the 13th, 14th day, man, you're gonna turn into a straight cannibal. You know, they done the research. You're gonna turn into a cannibal if you haven't eaten in 13, 14 days. You know, and that's what's coming. Cannibalism is coming back. You know, what are you gonna do? You're gonna have to eat your neighbor, man. You might have to eat your own family member, man. You gotta eat, you know. You got to eat. You know, you're gonna be best friends with your neighbor for 20, 30 years. And one day you just gonna fucking end their life, man. 'Cause you gotta eat. Or your neighbor might be thinking the same thing about you. You know? That's what's coming, man. When this economy crashes, all hell's gonna break loose here in America, man. You know, all hell's gonna break loose. Let's get some more precepts, man. Because these are some real serious times that we going head first into. And every day we get closer and closer. And every day people still fucking playing games, bro. Still playing games. Especially so-called Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans. That's all you do is play every day. I listen to y'all at work. None of y'all are talking about anything when it comes to politics, the economy, you know, geopolitics, investments. I don't hear y'all talking about none of that, man. You know, the scriptures say, man, our people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. And it's true, because I hear y'all talk every day talking about bullshit every day. You know, I asked the guy the other day, I'm like, you know, I'm picking his brain. I already know, you know. I just want to see what he gonna say. Say, damn, man. I said, I got a lot of safes on the truck today, man. Like 4 or 5 people ordered safes. Yeah, like 3 gun safes on the truck and 2 other like smaller safes. I'm like, what y'all know? I don't know. He's like, oh no, I'm just getting one for the house. This, that, and the third. You know, blowing smoke. Like I'm like, okay, all right, yeah, but people are getting prepared, man. They see the writing on the wall. They getting these gun safes, and they filling them up, man, because they know it's about to be a big shootout here in America, man, on the shores of America. You know, it's about to be a whole massacre right here, a civil war 2.0 right here in America. Left versus right, liberal versus conservative, man. And civil war turns into race wars, man. So it's gonna be race wars out here too, class wars. And I say the Lord gonna put this place through it. He gonna fucking put this place through it, bro. Like when you say, it's gonna take you down through them. You know? Scripture speak about a time like no other time in recorded history, man. That's how bad it's gonna get here in America, man. Worse than the Vietnam War, any kind of war you can think of. The Roman Jewish wars, you know. The Bible said it's like none other time, man. It's gonna make everything else look like a walk in the park. And it's Jacob's trouble, you know, aka martial law, and that's what these elite are gearing up to. They think they got these troops in the street to just arrest, some crazy niggas. You know, these troops are getting training, man, how to arrest and lock your ass down, man. They already said they got to have a elite unit in every state, like 500, 600 soldiers, ready by what was it, like March of April? I think April of next year for riot control, because they know it's gonna be riots in the street once the dollar collapses, and you go on answers, and you people gonna be fighting to the death in the streets, right? And so they getting the guard and the troops ready to roll on you Americans, because little do you know, you've been sold out by Trump. A lot of y'all don't know that yet. You still hoping and praying that the tariffs work, you know. You still hoping and praying that he got a ace up his sleeve. Well, I'm here to tell you he don't. He bought and paid for by the same people everybody else up there in Washington is bought and paid for, man. They work for special interests, lobbyists, donors, and ultimately the Rothschilds, man, the bankers and the Rockefellers, man. But they'll get on TV and tell you what you want to hear. God bless America. Get the Somalis out of here. Get the amigos out of here. And the whole time they just put on a front, man. They'll arrest a few to make it look like they're really doing something. But the numbers are small compared to what's already over here, man. It's not even a drop in the bucket. All this talk about Somalis, and ain't shit happening to them, man. You know, nothing. You know, they might put one on TV, one here and there, because he didn't play ball or something. He didn't. He didn't give him his cut. He didn't give whoever they cut, or they need a sacrificial lamb. So they just threw one out to the to the news real quick. But it's all just bullshit, man. All smoke and mirrors, and you people eat it up. You know, every election you eat it up. Like they all, you know, all threat of death that this Moreno chick got elected here in New Orleans. Like she gonna do make a difference, man. What the fuck can she do? You know, she come from the same old shitty Democratic Party, man, and she got to play ball. Whatever the Democrats say, she got to do it. So don't expect any changes, man. And you people won't can't fucking wake up to that fact, man. You know, they say Americans are some of the dumbest people on the planet. You know, keep falling for the same con over and over and over and over and over. You know? So that's why the man of the Lord, man, we just sit back and watch and say, call her lawyer, how about Shemel Shah, man, for waking us up to the bullshit. You know? We waiting on a true king to come back to rule, man. We ain't counting on no scumbag politician. You know? We're waiting on the Son of Man, Yahweh Shah, to return to set this place in righteousness, man. But we ain't got to worry about a job or economy doing good, whether we gonna do good or not, man. The nation of Israel, we always gonna do good once he returns, man. We ain't gonna never be broke, you know? Not single, not one single Israelite, man. We always gonna have bread, you know? We always gonna be paid, man. Every single last one of us. And we ain't got to worry about no fucking job, man. Going on a damn interview, answering all these dumbass questions, man. You know? Now, how would you handle this in this situation? You know, all that dumb shit. That shit old, man. Or you get oh, you're overqualified. What kind of dumb shit is that, man? You know, we ain't gonna have to deal with that no more, man. That's going away. Well, Israel anyway. But for you heathens, you qualify to do any job, man. The kingdom got to be rebuilt. Whether you underqualified, overqualified, no experience, the job is yours, man. You got to work from dark to dark, man. You know, and you gonna have quotas too. You know, you gave us quotas. We're gonna return the favor and give you quotas, man. You're gonna be paid back double. We have quotas out the ass, man. And believe me, you better get your rest because you're gonna need it. Because you gotta hit them numbers every day. Every day. You know, you gotta get out there and go get it. It's Habakkuk 2:6. Let's start at verse 5. Yeah, also, because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man. So yeah, he transgresseth by wine. That wine meaning his philosophies, like democracy, feminism, ABC lifestyle, the trends. You know what I mean? That is this wine that he pushes upon the people, man, and all people all over the world. I'm talking about Esau Edom, man. So he's a proud man, neither keepeth at home. He's a proud man, never keepeth at home. You got military bases all over the world, man. Embassies all over the world. It says, who enlarges his desire as hell and is deaf and cannot be satisfied. You know, because ultimately his plan is to crash the economy, to get rid of the currency and give you a digital currency, man. You know? And ultimately, to give you a RFID microchip. You know, it's not enough that he has all the money in the world, the resources, the land. That's not enough. You know, he needs to crash the economy and get you microchip, man. You need to be tracked, traced, and bag and tag like a cow, man. Like an animal. And he's gonna do it too, man. The Rockefellers, who was it, Nick Rockefeller, even bragged about how they're gonna microchip the people, man. You know, so you go back and try to research what Nick Rockefeller said. They say, oh, well, he don't exist. When the guy Aaron Russo was taking a picture with him side by side, man. They say Nick Rockefeller don't exist. And he told him the plan is we're gonna have everybody microchip, and then the elite, you know, they're gonna have something that say, I forget what he said, was it a chip or some kind of idea, something saying kiss their ass, man. They ain't gotta get microchip. But you everyday citizens, you're gonna be microchip, man. The mark of the beast. Because it's all about full control. You know, so he's crashing the economy, putting the tariffs on the people, on the companies, on the businesses, all to enlarge it, everything. You got to crash it to consolidate it, man, to get full control. And by damn, let's say by golly gee, it's working. You know, it's working. It says, who enlarges his desire as hell and is deaf and cannot be satisfied. Yeah, because he got his eyes on Venezuela now. You know, they already hijacked one of the oil rigs over there, you know, some tankers, hijacked some tankers over there. So this man can't ever have enough, man. It says, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations and heapeth unto him all people. Yeah, you got to heap of him to all people. He needs control of everybody, man. Who was it? Was it David Rockefeller? Rockefeller, he said, competition is a sin. These are the type of people you dealing with. You know, we talking about the elite, so-called elite. They don't even want a free market, man. You know, Klaus Schwab came out and said, "You're gonna own nothing and be happy about it, man." And believe me, he wasn't just talking. You know, he put it out there on Main Street. You're gonna own nothing and be happy, man, because you're gonna go to the haves and the have-nots. This whole middle class idea mirage is about to go away, man. You're gonna have the elite at the top, so-called elite, and everybody else at the bottom, man. You know, they got their little minions and stuff like that, like they got now. That's gonna be governing over you people, man. And they're gonna have what's set up called a new world order. You know, known as the enterprise in the scriptures. You know, they're gonna set up their new world order, and they're gonna do whatever the hell they want to. If they say they need such and such kids, they're gonna take such and such kids and do and have their way with them, man. You know, they may or may not bring them back to you, because you already know how they get down. You know, this man is a damn demon, man. You know, he's Satan in the flesh, man. You know, he's Satan in the flesh. But yeah, you so-called Negro Latinos and Native Americans, man, you love this man's dirty draws. You love it. You can't do no wrong. I'm trying to think. Can't remember. Was it Stalin or Lenin? I think it was Stalin. That would just go out on an island or something and just he had like an island full of like hundreds of rabbits. And he would just go out there on his little rowboat or something, get out there to the island and just he would just go out there and kill them, man, with his bare hands, biting the necks, ripping the necks open with his teeth. Just out of his fucking mind, man. These are the type of people, you know, that come from them type of lines are gonna rule the planet. And you think they give a damn about you, man? You know, but good thing about it that they ain't gonna keep it for long, man. The Lord said when he's getting ready to fill his belly, you know, get down, sit down at that table, got that handkerchief all tucked in your neck, you know, you got that nice steak, you getting ready to cut into it. The Lord gonna knock it out of his hands, man. You know? You know, but he's gonna get it. He's gonna allow him to get it to set up his new world order. But he ain't gonna be able to enjoy it long, man. And when that happened, Esau, that is your ass, bro. That's your ass, Mr. Postman. Verse 6, shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. How long? So yeah, how long is this man gonna keep increasing, which is not his? As long as he's still in power, man. The Lord has given him a season to rule, and his season's not up yet. You know, matter of fact, he gave him a good fucking run, man. The Greeks, the Romans, and fast forward now, since the Renaissance to now. So hey, he threw Esau up, man. Esau, he gave him a good run. You know, you can't say the Lord didn't give him a chance to rule, man. He gave this devil all kind of time to have a ball, man, to do his thing. But this time when he go down, it's the last time, man. It's the last go round. It says, and to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. And that thick clay meaning heavy debt. Man. It's like, what, 38 trillion in debt for all the unfunded liabilities. Like $233 trillion. There's no coming back from that. You can't pay that back. I don't give a damn how much percentage you put on them tariffs, man. You ain't paying that back. You know? So the only thing left is to crash the economy and start over, man. And like I said earlier, they up in Washington passing out money, man. Like they on the fucking Titanic up there, man. Everybody's looting up there in DC, man. They looting the fucking government because the party's almost over. And they about to go to phase 2, man. And that's that new digital age. You know, they fighting like hell to get these AI data centers up. You know, because the, the digital revolution is upon us, man. You know, just think about Skynet and Terminator. That's the idea they have for you people, man. But the man of the Lord, we ain't got nothing to worry about, man. The elect, we ain't got nothing to worry about, man. Yeah, some of us are gonna die, but then the scriptures say there's some won't taste death. So some of us won't even die. Well, a great majority of us won't even die, and we're gonna go straight into the chariots, man. And from there to the wilderness, from there to the kingdom. You know, last time dying, man. You know, some of us, this may be the last time, man. We may not taste death, man. But if you do so happen to get selected, get put to death, then hey, man, you still alive, man. You know, your spirit doesn't die. You're just gonna be in that chariot. Wait, matter of fact, you're gonna be on that chariot next to your house shop, man. Coming back. So it's a win-win. So yeah, that thick clay, it all ties with the economy, man. You know, so I don't care what kind of new strategy they got for housing. It don't even matter anymore, man. Nothing can bring this country back. Nothing. The only thing that can happen is the economy collapse. That's it. You have to start over, man. You know, the old system has to go away. And before that happens, man, hey, there's gonna be some hyperinflation going on here. You complaining about grocery prices now, you ain't seen shit yet. You know, imagine walking to the store. You know, you was there yesterday, it was $5. Walk in the store, it's $10. You know, you go throughout the store, pick up a few items, you get to the register, that shit going up to 20, $30, man. You know, before you can even check out. You know, you might be next in line waiting to check out. That shit then went up another $5, man. So it's gonna be some hyperinflation going on here. Spoken about in Revelation 6, I believe. 6:6, where it talks about how you're gonna need a full day wages to pay for a loaf of bread, man. Pay for something to eat. And like I said, you got to think about eating your neighbor or one of your kids. They say you're gonna turn into a cannibal. You know, it speaks about it in Second Ezra 15, how you're gonna be drinking blood for thirst. You know, it's gonna be no water to drink. So you're gonna have to drink blood to quench your thirst. So that's why I come out here, man. I'm doing the work. That's why it says, serve the Lord with fear and trembling. Just thinking about it, bringing it out, got me, got me thinking like, damn, I'm glad I came out here, man. I'm glad I come out here week in, week out. You know, a nigga got to be reminded how the Lord can do your ass, man. You know, got to, you got to be reminded about what's getting ready to go down. You know, you need your memory refreshed. You know, and nothing like a great motivator. Nothing like fear, man. Fear is a great motivator. You know, you get some shit out of a person when they fear you, man. To hell with that respect shit. Somebody fear you, you get the ball rolling quick. You know, let's go to James 5:1 before I get out of here. I might end it on James because I saw James today. You know, so that may be the last one to go out on. It's James 5:1. Go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. So yeah, you rich men, talking about the elite. People don't understand what being rich is. We talking about people got generational wealth, man. I'm talking about money that goes back centuries, man. Somebody might have a damn headache tonight, isn't it? But you don't understand this generational wealth, man. Like the Rockefellers, Rothschilds, you know, Gettys, things of that sort. You don't understand that kind of wealth, man. You know, the DuPonts, candies, the bushes. You know, and a lot of these people you see or hear about, he's like, oh, they so rich, but they just paper rich. We talking about people who actually own land, livestock, gold, silver, man, real wealth, real estate, not some fucking paper money, man. And you talking about you rich, you know? Art, you got nothing but fucking paper money. And you talking about you rich or some shit, man. Fuck out of here. We talking about people who own fucking governments, man. Own the politicians. And you see the so-called Negroes, especially the so-called black woman. I'm blessed and highly favored. You don't know what the meaning of being blessed is, man. When somebody bowing down to you, then you blessed. You know? Right now, ain't nobody bowing down to the so-called black woman, man. Nobody's bowing down to you, man. You're not in the rulership seat. You know? But you're gonna get to experience that though in the kingdom of heaven, though. But right now, your ass under the curses. You know? All right. Your ass upon these curses. Somebody you blessed and highly favored. You know, you jumping the gun. Deuteronomy 28 say otherwise, man. Too much you blessed, but you can't grow your own damn hair, man. You run into the store buying fucking other people hair. Too much you fucking blessed. Fuck out of here. You got up teen baby daddies, but you're a queen though. You know? Verse 2. I just had to go up on a spiritual rant on the nigga woman, because she out of control. And I know you niggas love the nigga woman, so I try to say something to get you niggas riled up, you know? The spirit be on it. You know what I'm talking about? Let's go on. This James 5:2. Your riches are corrupted, and your garments are moth-eaten. Let's get that NLT. It says your wealth is rotting away, and your fine clothes are moth-eaten rags. So your wealth is rotting away. Esau, Edom, so-called white man. We getting ready to take that. So-called Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans are getting ready to take your shit, man. You about to go down, and we about to come up. Verse 3. Yeah, and like I was saying, about your riches are corrupted. This man, he got all kind of shit on his money, you know. Now, never mind, let me leave that alone. Verse 3, your gold and silver is cankered. That verse 2, that ain't what that means. I forget the breakdown on it, so I'm not gonna butcher it. I'll go to verse 3. Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rest of them shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. Ye have heaped treasure together for the last days. Yeah, your gold and silver, man. Inflation, it's cankered, man. Money's devalued. You falling off, E. You overextended yourself, man, like you always do. And so what you want to do now, you want to crash the economy and bring something new in. But little do you know, if you was to go on, you would fuck that up too. You know? You actually the biggest fuck up on the planet. So your gold and your silver is cankered, man. It's no good. The money's being devalued. Gold and silver is going through the roof. Because everybody with a brain sees that, hey man, this economy is going to shit. Your economy is going to shit, man. And not just here, anywhere so-called white people ruling that, man. The EU's in trouble. You know? If I remember right, Australia had some shit going on with their economy. So we're at the end of your rulership, man. Like I said earlier, you had a good run. The Lord let you do your thing, man. You've been balling out of control since the days of the Greeks. You had a long, good run with Rome. But hey, it's time for you to, like what's the name say, it's time for you to go down, boy. It's time for you to go down, boy. We went down, we took it. Hey man, it's only fair for you to go down next, man. You know? So man, I'm gonna end it off on that. Before I get out of here, man, I pray this video was edifying. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. So before I do, I'm gonna give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, and Kakadash. Shalom.